That's all right. It's okay, not a problem.
All right, so the claim of fact, it states, the use of recycled water is necessary to combat the current state of drought in California. This is a nice idea that my opponent has proposed, because I guess we are in a drought, right? I guess the only problem I have with this issue is the process, the method that they approached with. So my opponent likes to state, she stated up here and said that her main focus is this whole process of IPR. Now, for people that don't know what IPR is, it's basically a new type of technology that purifies water to a certain degree. And then it has to go through a different type of filter just so it can get drinkable water. The problem with IPR is not that this technology is not working, because as my opponent stated in a lot of her warrants, that Orange County is using it, some of the places in South California are using it, which is great. The only problem with that is that IPR is a patent that anybody can use. This has been seen in Europe. Going off of the Europe technology where IPR is heavily used, is being challenged right now by the community only because it's saying that IPR is only becoming kind of another way of privatizing water. Because when you purify this water, you need to refrigerate it and get it transported to a different location. It becomes very hard to transport that water into these rural locations. So what's going to happen now when you do it here in California? The only method that you can do it with is to build these locations, but building these locations as through a conversation, actually through an article by Cocos Keeper. It says that it would take up a lot of money to build up these locations, and then you need to spend even more money on trying to refrigerate this water. So then after that, you would need to transport it to these different places. The con with the recycled water is that as this patent issue is going on, anybody has the rights to create these IPRs. So that basically means that if I want, I can set up an organization, say that I set IPR, and I can sell you purified water. The question is, are you going to trust me with your water? That's the thing that you need to understand. So it kind of cripples the integrity of this whole process. Now, I would like to look at the evidence that my opponent proposed. A lot of her evidence comes from a blog. So I would like to refute on that, just solely on that basis. A blog, anybody can talk about whatever they want. Even though it comes from a university, it does not mean that it's giving accurate information. As you look throughout the whole site, it's very biased. It's only leaning to the preservation of water, and it's not giving any other cons that preserving water can have. You see, the other issue with her evidence was that she quoted the water of California government, but she misquoted the fact that there's already solutions in process right now, such as the LID, which is the way that you preserve water, is the way that you construct the preservation of water. So basically, this means that they construct the city in a form that they're gonna gather the water from rainwater, use it, and get it pumped out throughout the city. These things are already happening. Also, one of her biggest claims was that California is one of the biggest population of growing nuts, kiwi fruits, olives, and all these good stuff that we like to munch on. The problem with that is that there's also a solution for that already. So there's no reason to have IPR when the solution's already being implemented. The solution to that is that they know that the irrigation of water is being misproperly used, so they're already in the process of doing that, of getting the water that's being dripped out from the little tubes, and they're trying to get it and throw it back to the water, and have it scheduled in the form that it's actually gonna grow these plants, grow these fruits and nuts more accurately. So, on the last claim on the IPR, which is the process of filtration is disinfection of IPR water, I think that I would like to group up all her arguments, because all her warrants are from the same place of the blog site. I already showed the credibility to that, it's inaccurate, but even going off of that, the IPR on this blog site, it says that it's not the reliable source. There's other 4 sources that you can go through these methods. So why spend money on a new technology that might jeopardize things? And mind you, this technology also throws the dirty water back into the ocean. So what are you really doing? I had more,
But you're out of time.
yeah.
All right. Mark, the thing that helps you the most is that you speak quite confidently while you're speaking. I do think you have some reasonable presses on a couple of arguments, but you need to have more evidence of your own to back up some of those presses. There are a lot of claims about kind of secondary issues or related issues, but they aren't explained as to how they apply to the argument about whether or not this policy would work or whether it would be sufficient. The idea of privatization, I don't know where that's going to go. The assumption that it has to be transported suggests that the current delivery systems won't work, and you don't give us any reason to believe that. Sometimes you sound like you're presenting a quote, but I don't think that any of them are direct quotes. They sound like assertions or paraphrases of something that you might have read instead of an accurate statement. Of what an authority said. If anyone can set this up, that doesn't deny the fact that it would work. In fact, it seems to suggest that it would fix the problem. So I'm not exactly sure why that's a contradictory claim. The attack on the blog article needs to be a little bit more complete. You basically base all of the argument on the format of the article as opposed to responding to who the author is and what they said in that particular article. The claim that we're solving the irrigation problems is asserted. We've got a lot of assertions there. And we just kind of go down a few paths that don't necessarily lead anywhere. And you don't really structure the speech very clearly. You're not following the organization that the advocate presented, so sometimes it's a little hard to figure out how the issues that you're developing apply. You know what? I think I'm going to stop talking.